Okay, great. Well, welcome back to App Promotion Summit London User Acquisition Zone. We are now deep into day 3 of the content. We had the in-person event last week in London, and we had the ASO zone yesterday, and today we're covering some UA content. Really excited for our next talk. What could be more interesting, learning how we got 180 million downloads, and very excited to welcome Anton to the stage to deliver this. So I know he's got a lot to get through. So without further ado, please give him a big App Promotion Summit London welcome to the virtual stage. Over to you, Anton.
James, thank you very much for your introduction. Can you hear me well? Hello. I hope yes. I hope the answer is yes. So, guys, thank you very much for taking your time to participate in our small talk. My name is Anton Volovic, and I'm Chief Operating Officer of the company Reface. I'll tell you a little bit more about Reface later on, just to set the stage. But basically, our story has been a pretty crazy ride. With the beginning of the story, Elon Musk tweeting us when we were still an extremely small team, to reaching 100 million downloads within 12 months, to basically now trying to save our people, our employees, and our company from the war that Russia started, as we're a Ukrainian-based company. And basically, there is a really good quote from our head of marketing, and I just put it here on the title slide. There won't be any problems unless you create them for yourself. And this is about the story of Reface. We did a lot of things, we did a lot of mistakes, and I will hope to share with you some of the interesting lessons that we've learned throughout this journey. So let's start. So in terms of the agenda, briefly, we will touch about the intro of Reface, what we are doing, so everyone has the same context. After that, we'll talk through the phases of the growth, just to set the scene of how Reface have been developing throughout its existence. And then the majority of the presentation will be dedicated to the lessons learned through this journey, and there will be 13 of these lessons. So intro about Reface. So for those who don't know, Reface is the company with the roots in Ukraine and the global ambition. And our mission is to empower content creation with the machine learning technologies and artificial intelligence. And overall, we believe that people are extremely creative. However, in many instances, people are shy to create or just do not create things because the barriers to entry are super high. You need to learn some specific tools. People usually either not brave enough or do not have time to kind of master these tools. And we think that with the help of the new technology, we can significantly lower the barrier basically to entry the creativity space. And this is what our company is built on, and all the products that we want to build and that we already built are kind of pointing towards this mission. So more about Reface. So Reface is a 190 people company, which is based in Kiev, and currently, unfortunately, a lot of our people, some of them are in the bombshells, some of them on the western part of Ukraine, but basically our main product is the Reface app. And this product probably is well known to some of you. We reached 200 million downloads globally. In February, we have around 10 million monthly active users. And since the beginning of the Reface story, there were more than 5 billion creatives created with the help of our technology. So what is the Reface app? The Reface app is the app which you can obviously download in App Store and Google Play. And it allows users to kind of enter the world of magic created by machine learning technologies. And currently we have 4 different technologies that people can play with. And I will talk about them a little bit later. So our idea is the instant personalized content creation for a lot of fun and sharing between the people. So Reface has been quite successful so far. We raised the seed round from Andreessen Horowitz in the end of 2020. We also have Matt Stone as one of our investors from South Park, which also really well aligns with our mission of content creation with the specific angle on fun, which we have. And we also have one of our investors is Ilkka Panen, who is basically the creator of Supercell, a very big company, which also made the Clash of Clans an extremely popular game. So given the number of downloads, we also have a lot of reviews. We have more than 1 million and quite high ratings in the Google Play and App Store. We've been also named the Google Play's Best 2020, and we reached the top places in stores in 100 countries. So a little bit more about our kind of core value proposition for the users. Currently, we have 4 ML technologies available. The first one being face swap. This is our original technology, and still it's kind of the core of Reface experience. And this is the way how the majority of people learn about Reface. And kind of the basis of this technology is that we developed a special neural network, which at scale can process millions of videos, pictures, and GIFs, and basically apply your face to a face of a different type of video and image content. The other technology is it's called Animate, and basically here we enable pictures moving, and we create sort of Hogwarts Harry Potter effect. If you remember the movie, there were paintings that suddenly started moving, and we basically have this technology. The other one is Place Face. It's a fun technology which also allows to embed faces in different static objects. And our most recent technology that we released is lip sync or revoice, how we call it inside, is basically making the lips move depending on what user says. We also have 10 other ML features in development, and we have 5 more which are ready to be deployed. However, we're still kind of experimenting with the product use case, whether it will be inside Reface or whether we're going to launch any other apps to kind of get the maximum value of these technologies that we have on the shelf. And a little bit more about myself. So I'm currently the COO of the company. However, I joined the company kind of leading the business development front, working with the content holders, fundraising. However, as probably typical to a startup, your first day is very different from the second, and completely the opposite from the day number 100. And now I'm basically running the revenue stream of Reface. I'm also aligning the strategy towards the execution, basically making our dreams happen. And currently, unfortunately, also is involved in helping our company and the country survive the military conflict with Russia. The phases of growth, the second part of the presentation. So overall, we are now at around, actually at more than 200 million downloads. And I would say that we've experienced 3 phases of our growth. So the first one, I would call it pirates, and we had no idea what we were doing. We just had extremely great technology, but we were still thinking of how to pack it inside the product. We were kind of probing the media, what's going to work, what's not going to work. We were probing with user acquisition, PR campaigns. And yeah, basically it was a creative mess and a very fun period. The other period, I would call it Cowboys. And in this period, we actually started getting popular. We had just tons of organic traffic. Everything just worked. And in this period, we were just trying to capitalize on this growth and kind of maximize the trajectory as much as possible. And I think starting from the summer of 2021, we finally decided to be more scientific in the way how we run things, particularly in the marketing and the monetization front. And now a lot of focus is actually on this kind of small but extremely important incremental improvements, how we increase the LTV of different channels, how we work with data platforms. Basically, we're trying to go deeper because it seems like that we can extract much more value if we just become a little bit more scientific, and this strategy pays off, and I will tell you about it a little bit later. So heading to the lessons learned. One small disclaimer, I think the audience who is listening to this presentation is quite diverse. Therefore, I tried to decide to keep these lessons a little bit high level, so everyone can potentially find something interesting for them, and also they can be applicable in the bigger kind of number of instances versus being extremely detailed and precise and kind of technical from the marketing user acquisition standpoint. Also, some of these lessons may be very obvious for you, and it was also obvious for me at the time, and even before Reface. If I just look at this presentation, I'll be, yeah, everything is very clear. But actually, when you start doing things, everything is just under fire, and you run as much as possible. You realize that, yes, these obvious lessons are actually not that obvious to implement and actually believe in them. So the lesson number one, the most important one, is that products matters more than anything, and matters way more than marketing, any PR activity, any user acquisition. And for us, this first period, which I showed you, how we call ourselves pirates, we were dealing with the product which was not ideal. It was far away from being ideal. Our technology, the original technology, face swap, with which one we started, it was only used for GIFs and images. We couldn't do anything with the videos. We also had pretty limited content inside our app. And overall, the quality of output was not that great. And therefore, our different initiatives of starting user acquisition engine, like doing some other things, they were simply not effective because people did not stick to the product. The organic traffic was not that high because people still kind of didn't see the value proposition of the product. And since the product improved a lot and we added videos, we added a lot of more content, and our tech started processing things better and at a higher speed, we started experiencing this kind of uptick, which we optimized basically with the help of marketing. So what I learned from my experience is that marketing is extremely important, but it's the tool of amplification. It's not the tool of kind of creating the company from scratch. Still, kind of the core stays the product. And also reflective of this statement, I would say that at this period of time, our marketing team was also working a lot on kind of user testing and trying to understand how the app should look like, what would be the user flow, what should be the marketing communication inside the app with in-apps, push notifications, and stuff like this. So the second lesson is also sort of product related, and I think we would not achieve probably even 30 or like 20% of what we achieved if we didn't think about incorporating the growth loops inside our product. And kind of the simplest one, which we didn't have at the beginning, is the watermark. Because when we started with our product, people were using it, especially the ones whom we kind of sell through paid traffic, the access to the app. They didn't know how to find us, and adding a small thing, which is digital watermark, was extremely helpful for us, and kind of each next save and share of our creatives brought us a pretty solid number of organic users, and then the wheel just started going. So it's very important. I mean, again, this story is very applicable about Reface because we're a viral app. We're like very much a consumer entertainment app, which is very easy to pick up, very easy to use. But I think my lesson would be just, my recommendation would be just think about the growth loops. And the other example of growth loops, which is probably a little bit less obvious, at some point we added the feature that people can add more faces into one of the pictures or videos. And basically what it changed is that it shifted the pattern of sharing the content from Reface. Because before that, you can only paste your face or paste of a face of your friend, and you most likely will share this video on your peer-to-peer messages with the peer-to-peer chat. So for example, you made some fun of your friend and you just send this kind of creative to your friend. But with the help of adding more faces, our creative started being sharing in the group chats, which also kickstarted this kind of growth loop and the awareness around Reface, and it helped us a lot. Now we're working on the second iteration of this idea, and we're launching like a specific feature / in-app communication around pranking your friend, where we encourage users to add more faces, encourage users to go a little bit beyond just playing with their face, but also making fun of their friends. Again, with the logic of kind of expanding how many things we touch. Lesson number 3, do PR. It's a cheap and very helpful way to figure out your brand. So at the beginning of the Reface story, we did a lot of PR, and for us it was probably relatively easier than for other companies because uh, we're about fun and we're about sharing these creatives with people. But at the same time, I think this route is an interesting one for anyone. And basically, PR not only it's a cheap way to kind of bring your voice to a larger audience, but also it helped us quite a lot to figure out the branding of Reface, because at the beginning we were more kind of in the mindset of pirates. I mean, let's do a lot of interesting and crazy things and stuff. But then through PR, through conversations with the journalists, through conversations with the external world, we also understand that there is a very kind of big hesitation and concern that yes, Reface technology is very interesting, but at the same time there is definitely some kind of aspect like negative connotation around deepfakes which were present before Reface. And we also understand that, look, I mean, part of our brand and our mission should be helping people deliver the message that yes, like every technology can be for good or for better, or, sorry, for good or for bad things. It can be used basically to decept or do other bad things. And our, like, part of our mission, our brand, is to deliver people that, look, we need to open our eyes to new technologies. I mean, we need to use them, but we need to use them in a respectful way. And therefore, we incorporated the digital watermark. So you, for example, can always see whether this video was created with the help of Reface. We also brought awareness to millions of people that it's possible kind of to decept people with deepfakes. Therefore, kind of take potentially videos that doesn't make sense with the grain of salt. And basically we also use kind of the feature in our technology where we do our face swap with a little bit of lower kind of similarity for people to simply understand that, of course, it's the video that was artificially created. It's the synthetic part of the media. So basically, a message here is that PR helped us quite a lot to figure out our brand and kind of tailor it in the way how we look at it right now. And then obviously it kind of the parallel to cycling, running, PR helps you to create this aerobic base, which you can then use to kind of kickstart your growth going forward. And kickstarting the growth is basically the user acquisition, working with influencers and stuff like this. So lesson number 4, get the love of the celebs inner circle. And here, actually, let's talk about the influencers. So Reface started from the beginning try to reach out to celebrities, which obviously have a very high reach, and at the same time have this kind of fun angle towards what they've been posting and about their personalities. However, as being a small startup, it's very, very hard to get attention of the big guys and girls. And therefore, we employed a pretty interesting strategy. So we were trying to target the beginner celebrities who were not extremely popular and potentially in some cases not directly very impactful for our business, but at the same time they knew someone who are the friends of the bigger celebrities. So basically it's kind of the chain of connections, and we were studying this kind of social connections and social circles of big celebrities, and we were trying to tag the smaller celebrities with kind of Reface videos, so they tag the friends of the big celebrities. And then finally, interestingly enough, this strategy worked. It worked pretty well. We reached out Snoop Dogg, which was one of our biggest victories. Elon Musk tweeted at us as well. Also, there are a bunch of Ukrainian stars and singers here as well. So the strategy worked and saved us a lot of money, which we otherwise would not have been able to spend for working with influencers. And our biggest victory is when Britney Spears reposted us. It was very, very huge win for the team, and we were extremely happy, obviously. So the lesson number 5, be friends with backend. And I would expand this lesson to kind of a little bit broader one. Just think also about your constraints and the bottlenecks on your non-marketing side, because every startup is obviously at the beginning, it's all about the growth, user acquisition, kind of generating demand, but at the same time, it's a nice problem to have, but you also need to think how you're gonna serve the ones whom you're gonna bring to use your product. And at some point, we had an interesting situation where Reface was just performing extremely well. We had thousands of downloads per day, and we were focusing our marketing strategy, obviously tailoring to the tier 1 countries such as the United States, Canada, the UK, and Europe, which are more high paid, and for us at that moment were a strategic priority. However, what we didn't expect is that our app started being viral in the different parts of the world. And it's actually happened in Brazil, and then it happened in many other countries, but we didn't expect kind of to expand super quickly that particular month in Brazil, but Brazil just started being viral. And yeah, our backend just couldn't cope with all this demand for the video processing. And therefore, I think there were like days that the app just simply didn't work. And we tried actually to scale down marketing super quickly, so we do not work through our total addressable market. And it was very fun times. But then starting from there, we also understood that it's super important to have kind of cross-functional collaboration. And then if the marketing sees the spike in the demand, we basically connect with the content team, we connect with the backend, we connect with ML production, and we just try to make everything work, so we don't see the moments where basically demand just comes at your doorsteps and you can't figure out what to do with it. So it's actually pretty frustrating. Lesson number 6: cherish inbound partnerships, but be careful with the outbound ones. So at some point when Reface started getting traction, we also started getting quite a lot of inbound interest from the celebrities. So here, for example, you can see the John Legend's video, who also asked us to work with him. And I mean, I would say, I mean, obviously these partnerships are extremely helpful because they come for free. But also the other interesting point is that they are also extremely easy to execute, because when someone comes with you with an inbound interest, a lot of formalities and a lot of kind of steps of a typical process can be just thrown away, and you deal extremely quickly. And basically it takes us from 1 to 3 days to place a creative from a celebrity inside our app right now. And the value proposition here is very clear, because the celebrity basically gets the access to our huge distribution base of 200 million devices. At the same time, the other interesting point is that the celebrity doesn't need to generate content. The user generate content just based off one of the videos, and this content is personalized. So basically this content has the part of the celebrity, which is probably the background, the movements, and the face of a person who does the creative. Therefore, it's kind of a perfect combination with a very clear link in terms of PR for the celebrity, and at the same time with this kind of pinch of personalization and co-creation together with the celebrity. So basically everyone just completely loved this user proposition. And for Reface as well, it's extremely powerful, because we can use the cross promotion basically and lift the credibility of our app further. So at some point when we started kind of processing the inbound interest of the celebrities, and we had a very clear kind of cycle how we deal with them, very clear process, and we were just starting working with many of them, we were also thinking about expanding our efforts towards some outbound opportunities. And here actually it became extremely hard, because I mean, it's very obvious, right, that working with inbound is easier than working with outbound. But for us, it was the ratio is like 1 to 50, right? We can do 50 inbound ones and just close 1 outbound. Therefore, we kind of shifted our strategy a little bit, and we decided to focus on inbound and try to build kind of the longer, kind of more repeatable collaboration with the artists who were coming to us. And therefore, we have like a couple of drops. We plan the campaigns for the next month, the months after, and just in terms of kind of people time wise, the Reface people who were dealing on this stuff, the output was just so much better. Lesson number 7, found the factory of creatives. And here I want to talk a little bit about our team in marketing who is dealing with the creatives. And basically, how we organized, we have 5 people who are constantly looking at creatives for user acquisition. Our target is around 70, 80 creatives per month for the team. So we actually very diligent in terms of enough quantity that we produce and can test across our channels. But also what's important is that we push some of our people to go a little bit beyond kind of the classic ads and experiment with some crazy things. One of the things we did, I mean, one of the creatives, you can see this is one of our guys from the marketing team, and this creative performed extremely well. However, it's very much far away from what we usually tend to use in our user acquisition. So I think it's very important to kind of give people clear direction that, look, yeah, 90% of your effort goes to kind of iterations with more kind of classic storylines, the one which are more obvious, and the 10% will just be extremely creative and try to kind of diverge as much as possible in what we do. Also, another feature which actually helped us a lot to kind of get the creative team together is their focus on the quality, and we ask our guys and girls basically to target that 10% of the creatives that produce within a month should go into the kind of priority rotation that we use in the social media. So we obviously want to expand the quantity side. We make a very clear focus that quality is actually also very, very important, and we also give the room for creativity. And it has been working pretty well from this standpoint. Lesson number 8, hunt for organic traffic. Overall, the business model of Reface is very, very much reliant on organic traffic. And basically how it works is that, like, if to simplify it as much as possible, we basically buy paid traffic, and then this paid traffic brings us installs. People do creatives, they send creatives to their social media messages and stuff, share with friends, and then these friends see the watermark, see other features of Reface, and they want to try. And then this kind of wheel is working. And the one thing is to kind of make our user acquisition team as good as possible. And the other thing is just actually to learn more about the organic patterns of our users. And here, basically, we try to dig as much as possible. We look at absolutely different dependencies. We study things within the app. Here, a lot of work is constantly being done. And here on this chart, you can see that this is our different creatives and videos that you can find on Reface. And sometimes these videos started becoming viral, and we then try to learn why they become viral, what worked or didn't work, and how we can sustain this virality going forward. Basically, learning about organic traffic is obviously talking to users, but also, doing marketing, obviously. And the third thing is also playing with the product. So, for example, one of the weird tests that we did, we just decided to eliminate a save and share button on the output screen in Sweden, just to see how much organic traffic in Sweden is being impacted. And we also did the same thing in different geographies, just also to see how different geographies are interconnected. So, for example, we found a really interesting pattern that if a video becomes viral in India, there is a very high chance that this video becomes viral in California, actually. And then from California, it expands more towards kind of the continental, like the central part of the US. And it's very interesting. And we basically study all these organic spikes, and we learn how we can prolong them and how we can kickstart them from scratch. Also, this is one of the charts of the Turkey organic traffic. So the green line is the organic traffic, organic installs. And then the red line is our paid marketing, which also tries kind of to sustain this organic boost going forward. And we do a lot of things like that. Obviously, there is cross-functional collaboration as well, where we have the content team, marketing team, backend team, product team working all together to kind of spot this organic boosts and just make something of it. Lesson number 9, be brave with push notifications and also ideally be smart about them. So we also run a lot of tests in terms of in-app communications with the users and push notifications. And there was a very interesting finding that users who got more than 10 push notifications per month have 4 times higher retention. And for me personally, it was counterintuitive because I hate push notifications myself. But it seems like that constantly reminding people that, look, there is something interesting waiting for you works. And in terms of the second part of the slide, ideally smart, here we also try to kind of send the content which is based on the time of the day. So for example, the one which is like, say, good morning, obviously the content which is tied to different celebrations such as Christmas, holidays and stuff like this. We send affirmative content, and we basically constantly iterate how to make our push notifications better and better. And this is a very, very powerful weapon to bring people back, to re-engage them, and to increase, in the end of the day, the retention of your app. Lesson number 10. Overall, we have 13, so just a little bit more. So bear with me. Hire product monetization team, and this is one of the biggest mistakes we've done at Reface, because we did it when we were at around 100 million downloads. And I have to tell you that we missed millions of dollars not doing it earlier, and it was extremely huge mistake. Now the guys started working last June, and the results are extremely good. And at the beginning, we were just thinking, okay, well, if the product is good, we have a lot of organic traffic. I mean, our marketing costs kind of add up with the return on investment. We just simply put, as you can see on the left side, our very stupid, I have to say, a paywall. We even called, instead of Pro, we called the Bro, which, I mean, I know it's very stupid, but that's what we did. I have to confess. And we were thinking that, look, this paywall will just do the job and convert our great value proposition into the dollars. However, after the proper monetization product team started working, the increase in revenue was tremendous. And basically, this team is working on the couple of things. So they work on onboarding. So the more people kind of gets to the app and they understand why they installed this app, which increased kind of the number of people, which increased basically the conversion from install to kind of the first useful usage of our app. They also iterate a lot on pricing. They iterate a lot on paywalls. They also try to drive the conversion inside the app. So basically many things. And also, because this team at Reface is probably one of the most data driven, they also now getting some ideas in terms of growth and how we can overall organize the architecture and the user flow of our app, so the more people just retain and engage. So yeah, I mean, if you see that you have meaningful number of downloads coming to you, definitely hire a product monetization team. Lesson number 11 also kind of comes from the product monetization team part. You need to do a lot of tests. And what we've learned is that actually the number of tests, the sheer number of tests, is probably even more important than kind of the quality of these tests and the thoughts you kind of input before you start testing. And one of our KPIs for the team is just the number of tests we run. And I mean, here is the example of the pricing test, but we also do it throughout all the product. And kind of the key lesson here is that you actually have no idea what the majority of users will like, and therefore you need to be humble and just expand as much as possible your testing capabilities. Also, just to become a testing machine, it's a lot of work. It's not only about kind of the tech software infrastructure for you to run the tests. It's also about the team who thinks similarly, and who can work very quickly with the large kind of amount of data and large number of tests. But at the same time, these are the processes and kind of the methodology, how you define whether the test is successful or not. And we were actually iterating a lot with all of this stuff before we kind of build in this very efficient kind of testing machine, which helps Reface work well. So a lot of tests, really good, and definitely everyone needs to think about it. The benefits are really big. Lesson number 12, your analytic is not good enough. And I would say always. At the beginning, we have the absolute mess, to be honest. The first here in this chart, like 7 months, but I think it's longer, to be honest. We have huge differences and inconsistencies between different data sources in terms of revenue. We were not matching users well, and we were constantly having problems with just managing our analytical platforms. And we had resources to kind of put them in place, but still it's a lot of work. And I have to say now we're much better, but still we experience tons of problems. Just recently we had a problem with one of our software data providers, which we couldn't figure out, and for 2 weeks we had extremely kind of bad metrics just because we were like partially blind at what we were doing. And obviously you all know that the industry is changing a lot, and therefore analytics is the key, especially if you're a B2C startup with the huge number of downloads. So you just have this gold in terms of data, and you need to be very, very diligent in the way how you use it and how you treat it. So we still have a lot of problems. We're kind of getting better, but still, I mean, the excellence is so far away, and we are working it a lot. And my last lesson, so we have maybe time for 1 or 2 questions. Know your goals. Also extremely obvious lesson, but when I recall kind of the growth path of Reface, I can say that there were moments that we were not focused enough, and we were trying to achieve everything at once. And in this situation, it's very hard basically to be effective. It's very hard to motivate the team, and it's actually very hard to pass down kind of the decision making rights closer to the button to people who actually understand much more than, for example, I do. If you don't have a very clear like cascade of goals, what are we doing, what are our metrics, what specifically we are doing right now, how does it help the whole company to achieve goals. And from the marketing standpoint, it was exactly the same. There was a very long period of time that we were trying to optimize the money, and then at the same time we want to grow installs. We want to get a lot of hype, so people talk about Reface. So basically we want everything, and everything is a very bad goal. And therefore now we try to be a little bit smarter and more focused on what we're currently focusing on right now. And again, marketing is an extremely important part of the business, but it's just one part of the business, and it should be it should work in a very good synchronization with the rest of the team. That's it. Thank you very much. And yeah, I think we have 2 minutes more.
Well, thank you, Anton. That was brilliant. And I think we could have a talk on each one of those single items, really. You could probably go into a lot more detail. Lucas is asking, did you fix your trouble with the AppsFlyer data, and what was the cause?
Sorry, can you...
He says, did you fix, he's mobile marketing manager at Flash Score. He said, did you fix your issue with the AppsFlyer data? And what was the cause? That was the slide. You said there was a discrepancy.
Yeah, I mean, I think we fixed, and there were a lot of causes actually on our side, on the side of our developers. And then again, it's a lot of miscommunication. It's kind of running. It's probably prioritizing speed over quality in some ways. Overall, we're super happy with AppsFlyer. It's absolutely amazing, but it's just still very hard to kind of manage everything which is going on. So it was part on our side. Actually, we have another one problem with AppsFlyer just recently, which we also, I hope, fixed, because luckily I'm not the one who is actually fixing it with the hands. But yeah.
Okay. So we have a question from Shirans, who's a marketing manager at Volograms, and he is asking, for a content creation app, how did you find the right audience in the pirate stage? Yeah,
it's a good question. We are not a typical content creation app, and I think kind of the advantage and disadvantage we have is that our content creation is very specific. It's extremely instant, and how we say inside Reface is about low effort fun. Therefore, kind of the addressable universe of people who can create with the help of Reface is extremely wide. And interestingly enough, at the beginning, we were thinking that our core audience should be around Gen Zs, about also the people who, let's say, create memes, kind of in very sort of kind of internet slash creative communities. But we happen to be absolutely wrong. The majority of Reface users are actually millennials, and the second biggest part are Gen X. So we think about ourselves as the cool startup for young people, for Gen Zs, but in the end of the day, it's not really the case. Therefore, yeah, kind of directly replying on this question, we're just lucky that everyone can be creator with Reface. So we're just, in the end of the day, bombed everyone, and it worked. It sticked.
That's very interesting on the demographics. Yeah, I'd love to go into that more, but yeah, I just downloaded it myself while you were talking, and was really drawn in immediately, and to all the stuff you can do, and yeah, it's a really good app. I suppose. Well, one sort of final question. I guess it's very interesting seeing the underlying this app, the amount of business systems you have, the marketing systems, the tech systems, ranging from everything from, acquiring the celebrities to monetizing and, building a really kind of very powerful platform. How do you see yourselves, evolving? And, we've had apps over the years, Dub Smash and different ones that got to hundreds of millions and then faded, and equally ones like TikTok, which have just kept growing. How do you see yourself kind of progressing? Is it going to?
Yeah, very good question, James. I think kind of the answer here, the simple answer is the focus on retention. You need to make your product relevant, and the way how we see about it is that we need to solve a clear user problem. We need to solve it once at the first time, so good that the person wants to come back. And when the person comes back, he or she can find other things to do and basically stays in the product. And the vision for us is that, our app is obviously very viral, but we want to make it way more retentive. And the way kind of handle it is from two sides. So one thing is to constantly give people new things to play with. And we kind of become this, like a Christmas box which you open and you have like millions of different fun things to play with. So we want people to kind of have this feel that, okay, every time they come to Reface, they can have a lot of fun with it. And this fun is changing, and the more things are added. And the other important part is that I think it's very important to incorporate a sort of network effects, because network effects is basically something that makes probably every consumer unicorn so big and so successful. And therefore, we also iterating on social features incorporating in the app. And our big vision is that at some point we will have such a big density of different ML features to modify content that TikTok is basically the social platform for actors, because again, you're still like you is a main piece of content, and in our app we want to create, let's say, a social media for the directors, where it's more about your thoughts, your ideas, and how you put them extremely easily and create with the help of our ML tech in our app, versus actually being you presenting or doing like some funny dances and stuff like this. So that's where we heading.
Great. Well, really looking forward to seeing that. I thought, it's always really inspiring for everyone to hear stories from apps with this sort of user base. So really appreciate you taking part. I know it's going to live on forever on YouTube as probably very popular talk. Not every day you get this sort of insight. So yeah, really appreciate you taking part.
Thank you very much, James.
I hope we can get you in person, maybe along in Berlin later this year, or New York, and get you and the team to get involved. And and obviously send all our support to you and the team in Ukraine, and hope they're okay, and sort of thinking of them and supporting them.
Thank you, James. Thanks for hosting, and everyone had a great day.
Excellent.